in this session on rapid commerce and gig economy, reimagining the future of work and delivery, hyperlocal networks, flexible workforces, and tech shifts in delivery. Please put your hands together and welcome on stage our moderator for this session, Mr. Shriram Srinivasan, Director, Digital and E-Commerce, Alamar. Please give a round of applause and welcome Mr. Srinivasan on stage, a digital transformation expert steering omni-channel excellence. That's Mr. Srinivasan. He fuses e-commerce, data, and supply chain strategies for growth, and he is driving future-ready retail ecosystems in the region. Please give a round of applause and welcome him on stage, Mr. Shriram Srinivasan. Joining him on stage are our speakers. Please welcome Mr. Shashi Kiran, Group General Manager, Jashanmal National Co. Please give a round of applause and welcome him on stage. Please welcome Dr. Prakash Rao, Group Head, Supply Chain Projects and Home Operations, Landmark Group. Please welcome Mr. Anshuman Anand, co-founder and CEO of Al Safa Brands. And please welcome Shailen Shukla, supply chain expert. I will hand it over to Mr. Srinivasan to take this conversation ahead.
Thanks a lot. Today we have a very interesting topic which is very relevant to the current situation in the market. And I have the best in class of the titans sitting with me to discuss the same topic. Like if you actually look at e-commerce per se, couple of years back, people are like saying e-commerce is an afterthought, and then it started growing. Last year was a milestone for e-commerce because 20% of the global commerce that was happening online. And from there, people actually like started shifting. There is a shift in customers' mentality because now people wanted convenience, that's why they went to e-commerce. But now people are also looking for instant gratification. And that is what is actually driving the rapid commerce that we are actually currently going to discuss. So let's straight away dive into that particular topic. And I have like a couple of interesting questions for our panelists. And I would actually like open this particular panel with like a very general question. Anyone can take it. The first question from my side is, how do you define rapid commerce in today's world? And is it about speed or something more?
I think it's a very pertinent question. And from my experience, I've seen that, do you have a purpose? Like you should have a purpose in life, a purpose in whatever you're doing. And so many times we've seen that people are running rapid commerce for the sake of it, So, I mean, do something which benefits the society in general. You have like 200 last mile companies which are burning cash. Who are you benefiting? Are you benefiting customers? Are you benefiting your investors? Who are you benefiting? What is your purpose in life? So I think in quick commerce, we should ask that. And so many times, we see this really wasteful expenditure where the big wigs, the big names in e-commerce, they pay you like 7 dirhams. Your cost is 14 dirhams. And you're happily working, doing 1 million deliveries for them. What sense does it make? It's not making any sense. So do something which is purposeful, which is like, yes, if you are improving the delivery of a pharma, if you're delivering something, food which is fast, like Domino's does, 30 minutes, it has a purpose in life. But if you are here for burning cash, I think it's not benefiting anyone except for, filling the pockets of, the promoters who are, getting rich. And we have recently seen that case in India where the promoters were siphoning money. So it's a very sad state of affairs. We do not need so many companies, but yes, we need delivery which is time bound. Nobody wants, like I was in Gurgaon 2 days back, and my grocery, you'll not believe it, gets delivered in 6 minutes. I mean, at what cost? Free delivery. Who's paying for this? I'm sure the product companies are not paying for this, or you're fleecing me by charging higher on the product, which I don't know, because for small groceries you don't compare the prices. Nobody needs it. Heavens will not fall if you deliver in 15 minutes or 30 minutes. I mean, there cannot be a medical emergencies, getting or somebody getting harmed if you don't get groceries in time, except that 1 in a million case where you need a milk for an infant or a child urgently. So whatever business we do should be very purposeful, that yes, I am doing this with this purpose of, bringing e-commerce in a better shape, or, delivering apparel or whatever delivery you are doing. So I have a little contrarian view. I hope others will also give their own views.
So I'm going to speak more from the user of supply chain, because I work for brand businesses, and fulfillment is a service that I employ. So you see, today's customer younger generation is commitment averse. They have impulse, but they don't have planning. So quick commerce is not about speed, but it is about time. So if the commitment averse or planning averse young generation does not know what they want to cook, and over the phone they decide they want to have Chinese, then the noodles have to come in 6 minutes. If they forget that it's their wife's or girlfriend's birthday tomorrow, then the gift has to come tomorrow. So a lot of quick commerce, both companies and brands forget that they are fulfilling. They have to be in sync of customers' needs and impulse. And quick commerce is syncing that need and impulse at the right moment when the customer wants. If you are able to do that, no cost is too high. The problem is, quick commerce is just talking about speed. I want to give it to you in 10 minutes. But what do you want to give me in 10 minutes? And what is my experience when it arrives in 10 minutes? We have to understand that we are dealing with a commitment-averse generation, and which is high on impulse and low on planning. And that is the gap that quick commerce fulfills.
How are we even making food in 10 minutes unless it's Maggie?
So well, that's a discussion for another time. We can get into greater detail. But today, food is coming pre-cooked, pre-cut, half-cooked, almost like a ready-to-eat, which is a great bridge between eating home food and eating outside food. So that's a different discussion for a different date. But that's my point. That impulse and lack of commitment.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. So I'll speak first from the customer point of view. So we always work from the customer backwards, and the whole profile of the customer has changed. And this is a tech-savvy customer, the current customer, and he has expectations. So if you want something in 15 minutes, as a company, as a retailer, we need to see whether we can cater to it. So we don't question the customer, right? We cannot question the customer. So if the customer wants 15 minutes, of course, as a company, we can choose to decide whether we can get into that segment or not. And like Shailen rightly pointed out, everything is not required in the quick commerce bracket, right? You don't require everything in 15 minutes. There has to be a logic to it. So maybe food, grocery would fall in those categories. But having said that, it's the customer who decides what he wants. And if the companies don't work backwards in terms of their processes, systems, and the capabilities to service the customer, you're out of business. Now, coming from the retailer perspective, if the customer wants in 15 minutes or whatever, 1 day, 2 hours, 5 hours, we need to work on our systems. And that's where speed becomes important, right? Speed, scalability, modularity, efficiency, contactless, all those things which comes from employing the latest technology, that becomes relevant for a retailer. And we need to invest in it, and we need to design a process and system so that we can meet the customer expectations. So we have to be in sync with what the customer wants. It's a retailer's or company's choice. I mean, if he doesn't want to get into that quick commerce, so be it. But to survive in a business, we need to follow the customer, and that's my strong view.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a very important topic which has to be. It has to be discussed. It has to be discussed and articulated at this point of time. There are customers here who would be expecting from the customer side, as well as there are e-commerce or the companies which they are basically trying to propel their growth. So for me, I think there are 3 key enablers if you want to run a quick e-commerce company, right? So one we talked about, very important, is speed. I think Anshuman mentioned speed. Speed is not about delivering that 15 minutes. Speed is about accurately delivering what is ordered by the customer, correct? So he has to have that experience of what he ordered and what he actually received. This is one element. Second is the cost efficiency. Cost efficiency is not about, when you're running a quick e-commerce, it's not about, I can deliver this in 4 dirhams, 5 dirhams, 6 dirhams. Cost efficiency is how do you run your back-end supply chain? How do I make sure that the product is ordered, is being expected as per the order number or order SKU or a product itself? So to ensure that the accuracy is maintained. I think the third part is very important. I think all of us are striving for is sustainability. How do I sustain the business? Are my businesses be able to deliver what is expected out of sustainability? There are many elements. So a lot of companies are in the process of seeing how I can reduce many things in the business. It can be packaging, it can be carbon footprint, it can be, can I deliver it in a mobility? Today, it's a lot of mobility happening where scooters have been used, cycle is being used. So it's an experiment which is going on. I think that's going to evolve. I think we all know that country like UAE is actually testing whether we can deliver, products through drone. And they also created carbon, emission city and all that stuff. I think it is about these 3 things basically makes quick commerce really to make sure that it can be delivered.
Thank you. I picked up a couple of points from whatever you guys were saying. One is relevance. Other one is customers who are driving it. And third is the company standpoint that we are talking about. Apart from this, what do you think is the major driving force for you to actually be successful in rapid commerce?
So you want me to take that? Yeah. I think there are, again, I would probably bucket into 3 things, which is also will be, I would say probably the enabler, right? So the technology itself, the technology which can adapt and integrate with your customers is a key factor so that the data exchange is done in a rapid way. The second is the infrastructure. Again, I'm going back to the infrastructure. Infrastructure can be anything, which can be, your dark stores, your fulfillment centers. We should be able to, quickly adapt and able to fulfill those, orders. And the third important is the customer experience. So these customer experience in the sense that Today it's a Gen Z world, it's millennium, kids are adapted, they don't look at even a laptop, they are actually ordering stuff on your phone. So how do I personalize my service? How do I quickly navigate the process of ordering? How do I shift pages? How do I do the payment process? How do I do? So that experience can actually drive, these elements. So these are the three important factors can influence everything.
Amazing. So, one point which I wanted to ask you about is you are talking rightfully so. You are saying that the customers are charged 7 dirhams, wherein the company is paying 14 dirhams. So, for you, if you actually really have to look at what good looks like in last mile delivery, what would you say? Taking into consideration that there is a cost parity in this whole proposition. So, for you, what does good look like in terms of last mile delivery for a company from the company standpoint? Because you are already having a cost disparity, right? Like you are collecting only 7, but you are paying 14 to provide the service. So, in this situation, what does it look like?
So essentially, last mile is a promise to deliver in time. Nobody wants groceries in 5 minutes. Even next day delivery is overrated. Yes, as you mentioned, if somebody forgets the birthday of your wife or girlfriend and you need a gift urgently, maybe you do 1 hour delivery, it's fine. QSR, we understand. Yeah, it's food. Somebody is hungry, that's why he's ordered, and he needs delivery in say 30 minutes or 45 minutes or 1 hour, whatever it is, And so these are the drivers. But money. You need to be honest with your business. If there was a CFO like Mr. Basant Kapoor who was heading your company, he would not allow this bullshit. Yeah? You need to make money, create a business model where there is a revenue model which someday gives you a profit. When Uber launched, and I'm talking of Uber, $114 billion company. When they launched their IPO 4 or 5 years back, and I was reading the prospectus because I was applying for shares, in the fine line it said, Uber may never make profit. So people are chasing top lines. I get 2,000 customers at 7 rupees. My cost is 14 dirhams, and I'm selling at 7 dirhams. But I have a huge top line. So I am attracting investors. They are putting money. They know that this is a loss-making company, but everybody is investing just so that they can get a 10x exit to the next customer. And in the end, when the company closes down, the last guy suffers. So my point of view is, whatever business you do, like I was just speaking with Raman from Ghibli, he's the founder of Ghibli Last Mile Company. He says, I say no to people who want less than 14 dirhams. He says, I don't work in a loss. I say, sorry, you want cheap? Okay, there are cheap is available. Go and buy cheap. I'm not here to make loss. Which makes so much sense. This is how, in the erstwhile, the Marwadis, the Punjabis, the Jains, they used to run business like this. You cannot run a business which apparently will never make a profit. So you need to have a purpose in life that, yes, I need to make money with my business by doing business, not by, making money on the valuation, and play the valuation game.
Perfect. Just a follow up on that. Very interesting viewpoint that you provided. But tell me one thing: in a market where there are like so many people competing with you, and your customers are so demanding, how do you actually balance this? Because then it becomes a tricky one, wherein if you are not willing to provide, your competition might provide. So you might end up losing the customer.
Customer is not asking for 5 minutes delivery. It is the Blinkit, it is the Zepto, it is the Amazon, which is over promising something which was not required in the first place. If you're delivering medicines, yes, do it in 5 minutes. I'm happy for it. Yeah, because maybe there's an urgency, somebody wants it. But who needs, a bathroom cleaner in 5 minutes? Nobody cares. It does not matter. You are fulfilling a demand by creating an artificial business model. Honestly, before Uber, were we not hailing taxis? We were hailing those yellow taxis very easily. We were catching our flights, we were catching our trains. Nobody was missing meetings, nobody was missing customer appointments. But then Uber came and they created a new on demand business model. And then the QSR came, they created an on demand model. I mean, I remember as a child, we were ordering these pizzas and, we'd just call up and say, okay, deliver, they'll come in 30 minutes. We were happy with that. So an artificial demand is being created. Okay, there's a lot of innovation is happening. You can track the driver. I mean, how many people want to track the driver? Do you ever track the Amazon driver? They just say, I'll come anytime between 9 to 9. And you are creating a generation of irresponsible drivers. People like me, because I don't pay them salaries. They live on incentives. So they have to do more deliveries. They have to drive faster to do those deliveries. In 45 degrees temperature of Dubai, they have to drive. They get killed. They don't have insurance. And, they hit people, they hit themselves. It's a vicious circle. The guy who's packing for a 5-minute grocery delivery, how fast do you think a guy would have packed those 14 items which I ordered? Did he even get a time to breathe? And he will make mistake. When he makes mistake, his incentive is cut. He is put on penalties. That poor fellow is making 15,000 rupees a month. He ends up losing 1,000, 2,000 rupees. Why? Because his owner wants to deliver to Mr. Shailen Shukla in 5 minutes. And whether you want it or not, it's a vicious circle. The driver is losing. The customer doesn't want it. The entire ecosystem is so vicious. There is nobody making money except for the owners, that too only by valuation game.
Ram, can I just add that? So I'm not debating on the 15-minute delivery, but yeah, now I'm putting my last mile service provider hat, right? And last mile has become a commodity. It has become a commodity. The game is all on price. But what it forces us to do is, and when it's so competitive and it's completely like a commodity, price driven, what it forces a service provider to do is to optimize, right? And that's the good part about it. What can you do to bring your cost down? So whatever price you're getting in the market, you still are able to make some margins, right? Now that's a journey which starts when you feel the customer demands or the market demands are extreme, right? You feel, how can I service at this price? But what it also does is help you start evaluating a process and system. For example, in the last mile delivery, your cost depends on how well you're able to convert in the first attempt, right? If you're able to convert the delivery in the first attempt, then you will make margins, even at whatever price you have. What happens is when it goes into multiple attempts, when there is no first attempt delivery conversion, when the address quality is bad, you cannot service at the first attempt. So these are all problems to be addressed. How do I correct the address quality? How do I optimize the route in such a way? How do I get the optimum productivity from the driver? It forces you to work on all these parameters, like the cost parameters Shashi was mentioning, so that you optimize your processes, use the right technology, and you target so that you are able to convert faster, right? So I think that's an aspect we should not forget, that it forces you to become efficient, and ultimately then that's how you make money.
Yeah, I just want to add on to what Prakash was talking about. He's talking from the logistics side, logistics service provider side. So I'm talking about from the retailers or the business, where how will I be able to compete with the market, with the other players, so that I can penetrate and reach to the customers, right? So what it helps is, as he rightly said, that we start thinking, we start innovating in, to see that how will I be able to, mitigate 3 factors which I mentioned earlier, which is the efficiency, which is the cost efficiency, speed, and the last bit is the sustainability. So now what has happened to us, like retailers, start thinking about how do I make sure that the product is placed by the customer? Can it be reached like Amazon or somebody else? So what it happened, there are thinking starts in. So we call it as micro fulfillment centers, dark stores. which is a cloud kitchen. I'm sure you might have. So these are all the concept which has actually is complementing for you as a company to drive the change, drive the innovation. So when you start driving these innovation, you are actually closer to the customer. So that is why this change is helping if you are ready to change and adapt and configure your whole backend system and the whole processes to meet those demands. I think this is the most three important things I think people are doing.
Thank you.
Companies are doing.
One thing that I wanted to specifically ask Anshuman, because Anshuman, you were talking about one important thing. Speed, okay, you are delivering faster, but within like 10 minutes you deliver a melted ice cream. How does it make sense for me? So at what point do you think the speed, the inflection point of faster is actually not making sense?
So I would like to take a step back here for this panel, because like I said, I come from a consumer facing industry and we see the changing trends. Where we are missing the piece is that we are now beginning to deal with the first computer native generation, social media native generation. All of us learned how to use computer at some point of time. All of us in this room got our first credit card and said, how do I use a credit card, right? But now, what we are dealing with is the first consumer computer, credit card, social media native generation. Their expectation of service is completely different. I completely disagree with the question that who needs a refrigerator in 10 minutes? Most of these kids do. Because I see with my son who's 14, says, Papa, let's change the refrigerator. Yeah, okay, let's go to the mall. Because the person who's closing the loop is still the father, he is not ordering it in 10 minutes on Zepto. When he will have a house of his own, he will change his refrigerator, television, and everything in 10 minutes. Because he wants to have a better experience of the match, because a friend on social media told him that on this screen, it looks better. We have to remember that for the first time, we are dealing with a generation which is resource rich, time poor. So all these kids have so many options. They haven't learned how to deal with boredom. 27th June 2009, boredom was killed because iPhone got launched. So when this generation is programmed by algorithm, and as any of you logistics people, if you want to make money, you have to look at three things. The generation is resource rich, time poor. So time is money for them. Money is not money. 2, predictive user experience. So a lot of what is happening because you can anticipate the need, right? You have to prompt, because the algorithm on your phone prompts what they want to see next. But today, no shopping is prompting what you want to shop next. So that's the second point. And the third point is proximity fulfillment. So dark stores and everything fulfills in 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I think for a lot of 18-year-olds, 5 minutes is too long, because in 5 minutes, they will change their mind 5 times. So people are ordering makeup, girls are ordering makeup on demand, girls are ordering dresses on demand, and they're ordering 3 dresses on demand because they want to choose the best one. So there is no option but to focus on rapid commerce. Definition of rapid commerce may be different for different people. I remember 10 years ago, I heard that the Alibaba equivalent the Amazon equivalent in Jack Ma's company in China sold 100 Maseratis on Singles Day. And when I was looking at this data, I was sitting in the audience and said, who would buy Maseratis on Alibaba equivalent platform? And here, we are debating 10 minutes refrigerator deliveries in India. So this generation demands something else. The songs are shorter. Everything is shorter. Tweets are shorter. Videos are shorter. So shopping time cannot be longer.
Interesting viewpoint. Now, with that, right, like I wanted to ask Prakash one question. You see, he was talking about predictive analytics or, like, let's say, predictive recommendation from the customer standpoint. But for a traditional retailer like Landmark, how does predictive analytics on the supply chain front help you? And is AI, because there is a massive amount of data, right? Are you guys also looking at AI to actually help you with this predictive analytics?
Yeah, so we have our own data lab, right? This started, say, 7-8 years back, and we started using the big data and the data analytics field, and we built applications. So there are two ways to look at this. One is from the consumer side. What is a consumer behavior, right? So that's on the retail side, consumer preference. And this is what Amazon and all do very well, right? They know before you do what you want, right? So that's mapping the consumer behavior, his purchasing pattern, when does he order what, and this comes a lot with the consumer data, we collect through our Shukran loyalty program. So we know about you guys, when you buy, we have a lot of data and then we convert that. But from the supply chain perspective, using technologies like you mentioned AI, you mentioned ML, we have to find specific use cases, right? So it's not just employing, these technologies because they look good. These are the jargons of the fourth industrial revolution. So we have a lot of use cases. So one use case I can talk about is in our furniture delivery, right? We source from China, Southeast Asia, and ultimately our consumer is in the Middle East. And we face a lot of damages, right? And these damages could be at any point. It could be a manufacturing defect which causes a damage. It could be during the freight from, say, China to Jebel Ali, right, our port. It could be handling damage in my DC. It could be a loading damage when I load it in the truck to take to the customer. And then it could also be carpenter damage when he's assembling, right? And so when we get this damage data, earlier it should take a lot of time. Now we are using a sort of an ML AI application. We feed this data and we get good insights that this particular truck has a maximum number of damages. This particular route has a maximum number of damages. This particular team, the damages seem to be high. Those are the insights which come. Or this particular supplier, the products he's supplying seems to have damages. So we are using, to get these insights so that we can attack the problem at the right node, right? Other application could be, from our customer feedback and customer feedback on our NPS score. We get a lot of comments. Whenever things go wrong, that's when the customer complains, right? And it's in Arabic, it's in English, it's in, various platforms. And earlier we used to have the customer service guys scanning through so much data manually and trying to get insights. Now that's all fed into a, Gen AI application, Chat GPT type of application. And then it curates insights for us. What are the top 5 things, which seems to be a problem? Is it related to the delivery? Is it related to the product itself? Is it related to the design? So these type of insights we are getting. We're also using AI, ML for route planning, optimization. That's something we have started. And we are seeing, it's all ML, it's not AI actually. It's more about which routes, are optimized, or how can I do my geo-clustering, things like that. So these are a few applications which are currently using. Due to lack of time, I won't go into more, but yeah, we are building a use cases, seeing a benefit, and then, expanding the application. That's the way it works.
If you want me to add a few things, which is probably in a different way, there are, what he's talking about is a consistency in everything what we do. Consistency in making sure that the website is appealing, consistency in engaging the customer, consistency in delivering the expected order. So many things, which is where route optimization and all that. So consistency is very, very important. I think the second important today with all the things happening is personalization is very important. Personalization, example, if your daughter are using the same account when she is browsing, where the mother is browsing, mother would look at probably something to with the kitchen, whereas the daughter would probably look at something like fashion. Or so this is what we call it as personalization, right? So this is where the system can read behind the doors the ALM. I think the third important element is frictionless engagement. What does that mean? Means that when I am in the system where I want to place an order, but the whole process should be, seamless. So what is that I can make this happen, right? So these are the three elements, probably is leading today in terms of quick commerce, which can engage and evolve and deliver what is required.
Amazing. Like, so this particular topic is very interesting and we can keep going on. And I have like a lot more questions, but we are unfortunately out of time. So I would really like to thank the panelists. Been like an absolute pleasure to have this conversation with. And like, if anyone wants to have further discussions, feel free to have one-on-one with them. And I would like to thank the organizers for the time and the platform for us to discuss this. Thank you.
I think we're out of time. You can ask them offline.
The problem is not so easy, it's quite complex. Somebody was saying that top line driven hai, and Jains and Agrawals are making money, now they are no longer making money because the bottom line is no more there, it's only top line driven. Is it good or bad? It could be good if the top line is creating a density and it's going to reduce the cost. It's that. But the problem is if it is not making money, then it's a problem. Then if it is density is increasing, tomorrow it's going to increase, still it is worthwhile. But if it is not going to make money tomorrow also, because people, if they work below the operating cost, at least they should be covering the operating cost. If they work below operating cost, it's never going to make money. So what is happening is top line is happening and they are increasing the volume, and then probably they are coming on IPO and the investor is bringing all the brand because the promoter has made the money, investor has made the money, and then this guy is making money. So that is wrong. So top line, if density is going to increase, the cost is going to, he is going to make profit at a later date, it's still worthwhile. But that is what we have to see, whether it is easy going to make money at later stage, which is not really happening. That is the major concern here.
I'll give you one example of last mile which makes money. Have you ever got a flower delivery free? You
Which
go
one?
to Funds and Petal, buy flowers, they'll charge you minimum 40 dirham to 50 dirham for last mile delivery. They never do it free. So it's a, we
that's
have
why
examples
if you are
of
going
companies
to
who will not
charge
give
money,
you
if you are going
free
to charge
delivery.
money for last
They want
mile
to make
and going to
money.
give that experience, it is worthwhile. If you are going to not charge money and going to give experience, but by making delivery you are going to make money, still it is okay. But if you are not going to both of them and you are going to continue to be in loss forever and going to shift their responsibility, then it becomes a problem. That is what is happening in the industry now.
Got it. So keeping in mind the time, I think maybe we will take it offline. Thanks a lot
Yes,
for the
thank
question
you.
as well as the panelists. Thank you.
Please give a round of applause to all our speakers.
Thanks
I
a lot,
would,
you were a great moderator.
We want to thank them for coming here and sharing their views with everyone on the development of the rapid commerce and how it is affecting the workforce. So I request you to please present a memento and a gift to our moderator, Shriram Srinivasan, Director Digital and E-Commerce, Alamar.